So just a little bit of housekeeping. I wanted to do a really brief introduction to the course. I am going to make a separate introduction video, but I wanted to do a quick intro as we're all in here at the moment, just for going forwards. So a couple of things that I want to cover. One is a lot of you have been asking about how long this course is, as in how long it will take to complete. And what I want to say to you is there is really no completion date on this. I'm going to have all of the stuff out by the end of May. I'm determined to make that happen. But you guys, it's really important that you work through this in your own time. So with regards to the coaching modules, if you have time to work through them as I'm putting them out, absolutely great. If you're in a position at the moment, like we're all going through awakening, so we're all going to have loads of ups and downs. If you're feeling shit and you just don't want to look at this stuff at the moment, or if you come to a place in a week or a couple of weeks where you just want to put this stuff to one side and live your normal human life, please do that. Don't let this course make you overwhelmed. A lot of what I'm trying to do here is help us all feel like we're not alone, help us feel like we're not crazy, and take some of the overwhelm out of this stuff, because it's a massive subject matter and there is so much bollocks out there on the World Wide Web. So yeah, I don't want to be adding to it. Also, with regards to the meditations and healings, you can do those as many times as you want for the rest of your life. So there is absolutely no rush in doing them. And I certainly don't want anyone trying to like schedule them in by thinking, oh, if I do this once or twice a week, I'll get somewhere quicker. Don't do that if it feels forced. I want you to really, really get used to feeling into your intuition, and just saying, okay, I feel called to do that now. I kind of feel like I want to do that meditation. You might feel like you want to do the healing meditation every single day. I've done that before. You might feel like you want to do the connecting to the higher self every day for a period of time. That's absolutely fine. Everyone's going to be different. But I just want to impress upon you that this course is yours. You're going to have it forever. There's no rush and you can just work through it in your own time. I think that's it for the introduction. Oh, the other bit that I wanted to put in the introduction, just in case I don't get the actual intro video out before I put the meditations out. Those of you who have never done intention healing or spirit healing before, some of the meditations gonna feel a little bit weird, not gonna lie. So I work with angels, guides, and light beings, and I will call out for them to remove things from you, like energy cords or blocked emotions. And then you don't have to repeat what I say, you just say amen or thank you afterwards, and it just means that you accept the help. When I first started doing this, I felt really weird saying amen because I thought it had loads of like religious connotations. And so that word jarred with me a little bit. But now I just say it's second nature and I know that this shit works. So for those of you who are right at the beginning of your journey, you might hear some things that I say that you're like, what the flying fuck did she just say? Trust that it's there for a reason, it's doing its job, and that everything is nice and safe and packaged for you. So just lay there and say amen and accept the healing and wait for things to happen. Those of you who are a bit more open, your channels are already open, you're already very sensitive to energy. With regards to the meditations, you might have some weird stuff happen to your body. Your eyes might leak from anything from eyes leaking to full-on crying. You might get a vibrating hand or a full-on shaky leg. Your head might move back. Your mouth might move around. Just smile, just laugh, take it with a pinch of salt. Try not to judge it. It's literally just the energy moving your body. And it can have some really weird, like you might get a bit of a wiggle on. You might need to stand up and shake your arms out. So yeah, so just trust that it's doing stuff to remove the energy from your body and it's nothing weird. There's nothing wrong with you and just to go with it. Okay, so that was just a bit of housekeeping for going forward on the course. So without further ado, shall we start the module? I'll stop rambling a little bit. So this first module is all about spiritual awakening. Hi guys that are just coming in. As I said, please feel free to ask questions throughout. If I am in a flow and your question is about something else, I might ignore it until the end, just because I'm massively ADHD and I forget what I'm talking about easily. So if I'm in a bit of a flow, I'm not ignoring you. I will come back to it at the end, but feel free to ask whatever you want. Okay, so the first thing I want to explain is what is awakening? Like, what actually the fuck is it? I'm not going to go into too much theory of this. everything that I'm teaching from my own experience and knowledge that I either have got from up there or other spiritual healers and teachers that I trust by having conversations and having experiences with them. So the easiest way that I can explain awakening is that the whole world right now is going through a huge energetic shift, okay? We are moving from a low vibration to a high vibration. So everything in the world is made of energy and everything has a vibration. We as human beings are also moving from a low vibration to a high vibration because we're attached to the world. Now, what this has an effect on is opening up your energetic systems, opening up your channels, and it's going to make you more sensitive to energy. So people are becoming more empathic, more psychic, sort of opening up to more frequencies around the world. So on a very basic human level, you're going to be feeling other people's emotions more. You're going to be accidentally tapping into things like universal fear. We all know that we're in the middle of a pandemic and there's all that good stuff out in the news. You might find that you read something or watch something and it suddenly makes you want to cry, whereas before you maybe weren't so sensitive. So it's making us all a lot more sensitive to energy. The other thing that it's doing, which absolutely sucks balls, is as these higher frequencies are coming in, it's giving us more of a wider palette of frequencies. So what that's doing is when the higher stuff comes in, it brings your awareness to all the lower vibrational shit that you're carrying around. What I mean by lower vibrational shit, it's a very technical term, by the way. It is all of your human baggage. So all of that good stuff like past traumas, emotions you've been carrying around, negative beliefs, outdated behavioral patterns, all of this is part of your human baggage. And with these higher frequencies coming in, forcing you to change, your awareness is suddenly brought to all of this crap. So it's going to feel like that person who dumped you 20 years ago, all of that shit is resurfacing. Why? That horrible thing that happened to you when you were younger, that is all coming up, even though it's something that you thought was dealt with, because it's just a way of us shedding our layers so that we can become more open. Now, everyone goes through awakening in different levels. Pretty much everyone is going through it in the world right now. Not everyone is relating it to awakening. Not everyone has that sort of spiritual explanation, which is absolutely fine. But everyone's going through it in different levels. So on one end of the spectrum, you have people who are just having more emotions than usual, having their past trauma come up, not really knowing why or what's going on. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have people like me who kind of punched straight through and started hearing spirits, seeing spirits, channeling spirits, doing psychic surgery, going into past lives, all of that good stuff. What I think is really, really important to explain to all of you is, although I'm guiding you through awakening on this course, is that there's nothing to worry about. If you were someone who was going to awake super rapidly and have spirits coming out of everywhere, you would know about it. There are some of you watching here now thinking, yep, that's definitely me. And for those of you who haven't really had any experience like that, don't worry, it's not going to suddenly all open up. You're not going to open anything on this course that you can't close off again. I think that's kind of a big fear and a big misunderstanding around spiritual awakening. People are like, oh, I don't want to tap into my own abilities because I don't want to open the floodgates. I think they have this image in their head that they're going to open up and just suddenly have all these spirits and entities coming through. That's just not the case. If that was going to happen, it would have happened by now. And part of what I'm teaching you on this course is to make sure that you are in control all the time, that you have good protection and boundaries, that we're all nice and safe, and that we are opening things nice and slowly. So just excuse me if I look down, I'm looking at my notes. So the other thing that's going on right now in the world is to move this earth from a low vibration to a high vibration, because pretty much the earth is in a pretty dark place at the moment. Mother Earth is not happy. We have all these energies and entities that are coming here to help us do that. Okay, so these are going to be your angels, your spirit guides, your ETs that you communicate with if you want to. These are all energies and entities that you can tap in and work with if you choose to. This particular course is just allowing you to meet with your higher self, animal spirit guides, and ancestors. But I will be doing bits in the future. If you want to go further than that and start channeling spirits and everything, that will be on masterminds. And you can certainly feel free to post about that in the support group if you want tips on that. Excuse me. Oh, the cookie analogy. I'm going to give you a really good analogy. I probably gave those of you who've been on a call with me, I gave this to most of you on the call, but it is my favorite analogy of kind of how we go through awakening. So if you think of an Oreo cookie, okay, you've got the 2 biscuits or the 2 cookies and you've got the cream in the middle. We are the cream in the middle, okay? And the cookie that is sitting on top of us is the thing that is between us and our higher selves and the spirits and angels and light beings that we want to work with. So it's basically the thing that is holding us back from activating our higher levels of consciousness. Now, everyone watching this has a different sized cookie with a different depth, a different density. Some of you are punching away at that cookie and not getting anywhere. Those of you who are not trusting your intuition, finding it very hard to bring through messages, maybe you've got a really busy head. It's because your cookie is just quite heavy and quite dense. Some of you, like me, accidentally break straight through the cookie and let it all in at once. That's like the cookie doesn't even exist anymore, okay? And then we have everyone in between that. So your cookie is made up, as I mentioned before about your human baggage, your cookie is made up of your human baggage. So this is your past trauma, all your beliefs, your identity, your ego, and then also a load of crap from past lives that we've picked up along the way. So the purpose of this program and what I'm doing with the meditations and stuff is just helping you gently find your way through the cookie so that it's not overwhelming, but so that you can start connecting upwards. So that is my Oreo cookie analogy. Feel free to share it with your friends and use it because it is the absolute tits. Okay, so any questions so far? I know I'm great at explaining these cookie things. Okay, so I tapped in before I came live today because I realized that I had written down on my bit of paper, why question mark, as in why are we going through awakening right now? And I had absolutely no fucking answer to it. I was like, that question is way too big for my little human brain. So I tapped into my Arcturian spirit guides and I channeled some messages through. Those of you watching this on the video course, I'm going to add the direct channeling on the end. And those of you watching in the Facebook group, I will post the direct channeling later so that you can watch the original messages. But what came through from them was really, really interesting. They were talking about the world basically being in darkness at the moment. And the reason that we are going through awakening, or as they called it, lightening, which is brilliant, is to basically bring the light back to the world. The world is super, super important to the rest of the solar system and the rest of the universe. If you imagine a plant, okay? And imagine one leaf on that plant gets a disease and starts to die. If you let it, it will spread to the rest of the plant. So if you imagine that our planet is a leaf of the plant of the solar system, if we're in trouble, the rest of the universe is in trouble. So that's why so many frequencies, energies, and entities are coming to help us at this time. And this is why it's really important that we're turning the light up in the world. So how they explained it is basically like light switches going on in every single human being, because we have the power inside us to move light. Excuse me, Adobe Flash Player, I don't need you. I hope you can all see me properly still. My computer's just playing silly buggers. So we all have the power in us to basically grow this huge light and transport it around the planet. So this is the quickest way that the planet is going to start coming alive with light again. So they basically showed me a planet in darkness, and they showed me all these human beings with lights. And every time you go past another human being, they pick up a bit of your light. So it's really important for people like us who are natural light workers to kind of go out there in the world. I know it sounds cheesy as fuck, but literally go out there and spread our light, because we are helping this planet and increasing the vibrational frequency so that the planet essentially can start to thrive again. So that is what they told me on that. I'll put what they actually said at the end with the direct channeling, because they went into a lot more detail than that and used a lot more words. So something else that I want to cover is the different types of awakening. Now, this is again to make you feel like you're all on the right path and no one's crazy. There is 2 different types of awakening that you can go through. One is the gradual awakening. This is when you kind of know your whole life that there is something a little bit different about you, and you might be searching for something your whole life, and you might be naturally drawn to things like astrology and tarot cards and crystals. And every now and again, you will get some sort of coincidence or synchronicity that will let you know you're on the right path, and you follow these synchronicities. And over the space of your lifetime, you might start opening up your abilities, doing your yoga, doing your meditation, and it becomes a spiritual practice and it becomes part of your life. This is basically what happens when you listen to the universe and when you listen to spirit. Then you have people like me who did not do that. I definitely, in hindsight, was getting nudges my whole life that there was some other stuff going on. There was some psychic abilities in there, some sensitivities, but I covered it up most of my life and I pretty much ignored it all. So what happens then is the universe gets tired of tapping on your shoulder and just comes in and rips you apart, which I know sounds terrifying, but it wasn't very fun. It was pretty much like, yeah, having your heart ripped open, having your soul ripped open. Quite often this happens with some sort of trauma. So a lot of psychic mediums get their mediumship abilities from having a near-death experience. Mine was a little different. I'm going to go into a little bit about my story. I'm just going to go into a very brief version of it. If you guys want to watch the full video, it's like a 25-minute video because I like to talk. It's on my Instagram at Natty Beats. You can find it on there. It's just called My Awakening Part 1 or 2. But just so that you guys have a brief overview of what I've been through and why I am kind of qualified to teach you about this shit, because I got fast-tracked through it all. If we go back, so where is it now? 18 months ago, I didn't really believe in most of the stuff that I'm teaching about. If I'm honest, I thought that spirit guides was something that hippies talked about to make themselves sound like cool and connected. And I had a string of traumas happen to me. I think it was February 2020, beginning of February. It started off with my boyfriend at the time breaking up with me. This was someone I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with, have a family with, all of that. He broke up with me on the Friday of the week. On the Tuesday, I had what I perceived to be a miscarriage. I say perceived to be because at the time it very much felt like a miscarriage, and that's what I believed in that moment. But looking back on it, I think it was just a late period because of the trauma of my boyfriend leaving me the few days before. But in that moment, I felt like I'd lost my boyfriend and my baby. This was the Tuesday. On the Wednesday, I had a wisdom tooth extraction that basically I woke up during. I was under heavy sedation. And I woke up halfway through and the nurse was pushing down on my chest and I was literally kind of screaming for help and telling her to stop. It was absolutely horrendous. I could feel them pulling the tooth out, and that in its own was just like a hideous trauma. So that was the Wednesday. Thursday night, went out, drank a bottle of whiskey, smoked a load of fags. Why not? Obviously. And ended up waking up on the Friday with a wisdom tooth infection. So I had to go back to the dentist. The dentist sat me in the chair, poked something in my gum socket, like something for the infection, and something inside me just broke. I had really bad flashbacks of sitting in the chair, had an instant panic attack, and just was really not okay. All throughout that day, I'd been having panic attacks anyway, like just really, not even panic attacks, but just anxiety here all the time. And that horrible feeling of like impending doom, that feeling that something bad is going to happen at any moment. And I had that feeling throughout the last year. It's a massive part of awakening. Those of you experiencing like panic attacks or anxiety, or just having a feeling like there's something fucking wrong with you, like you're fine, it's just awakening. It's shit, but it's just awakening. So yeah, I felt like I was broken. Drove to my sister's, and while I was driving to my sister's, I had this horrible twitch. It was like a tick in my neck. I was driving along and it was like someone was pulling me to try and get my attention. So weird, and that terrified me. And I thought, oh my God, I've lost it. Like, this is it. I've lost it. I'm going to end up sectioned. I'm going to end up catatonic in a hospital somewhere, strapped to a bed. These were all the things that were like legitimately going through my head. When I got to my sister's, there was a moment where I was sat in a horse's field, staring at the floor, and I was just suddenly really aware of my body. Some of you watching this will have had an experience similar to this. It was almost like I felt like I was in a dream, or like I didn't quite exist. I was looking down at my body, and I felt like I was looking out of my body, like I was trapped in this body, which was literally just a shell, like a meat suit, basically. And I was like, what the actual fuck is going on? I had this deep, deep, deep knowing in like the very core of my being that I was never coming back from that. Never, ever, ever. And I was right, but it wasn't what I thought. I thought I was going to be in hospital and I was crazy and all this. I'm very, very fortunate that I had amazing mentors around me. I know several healers and psychics, and I used them to put me back together. I knew something was weird, so I went for like 3 healing sessions one day after each other and a psychic reading, and I kept getting different messages. I met my first spirit guide during this time. It was a lady with a goat on her head, and she had a stick that she kept hitting me on the head with in this vision when I was getting shamanic healing. And I realized that that's where my headaches had been coming from the last 2 weeks. So lots of coincidences come up like that when you start opening these things up. And I then had a psychic reading with someone who told me that I was a psychic and that I was a healer and that I was going to do what she did and that I had all these things opening up. She told me that I was going to invent or discover my own healing modality, which is actually one of the bonuses on this course, the light seed healing. And yeah, at the time, it was very overwhelming. It was weirdly comforting, like everything she was saying, even though my human brain was like, this can't be real, it was like my heart or my soul, it like resonated with me, and it was like part of me really, really believed it. So anyway, from there, fast forward on, and throughout the next 3-4 months, my ability to channel spirits opened up, my ability to explore past lives, do psychic surgery, do lots of shamanic healing. All of this opened up from within me and from up there. And thankfully, I had a lot of guidance helping me through it. Now, don't get me wrong, all of my abilities are amazing and I'm so, so, so grateful for them. But last year, I literally spent the whole year going through a cycle of feeling like opening up a new ability. So I'd have a new awareness, or I'd have a great meditation where I'd break through and speak to a guide and be like, oh my God, that's amazing. I can do that now. Followed by probably a week or 2 weeks of migraines, feeling sick, fatigue, feeling dizzy, feeling like I was going crazy and being like, what the fuck actually just happened? And also feeling like, did I just imagine that? Because I feel completely unconnected. This is a completely normal bit of awakening. Like those of you who go from feeling super connected to feeling like you are so, so, so disconnected and don't even want to look at any of this stuff, that's a really, really important process that's completely normal. The reason that that happens is that in your downtime, when you're feeling completely disconnected, we have energies and entities working on us. This is when the energy shift in your body that I spoke about at the beginning, this is when this is starting to take effect and integrate. So every time we access something new, our body then needs to integrate it. And if we were having all of these energetic downloads whilst our channel was open, our head would probably explode because we are only human. So this is where all of your less fun ascension symptoms come from. So as I mentioned, you can get anxiety, you can get fatigue, you can feel ill. Like obviously anyone watching this, if you think you have an illness, I'm not a doctor, please go to a doctor and get it checked out to be on the safe side. But I'm just going through the symptoms that I have had and clients have had to help you kind of realize that there's nothing wrong with you. So I've had earache, I've had eye ache, I've had periods where I feel like my eyes are brand new, like I'm seeing the world for the first time, but they like actually sting and burn. Ringing in the ears is a massive one. A lot of people get ringing in the ears. Something about ringing in the ears, which is a little bit of a bit of myth busting. A lot of people think that ringing in the ears is like something trying to talk to them. In my experience, that's not necessarily the case, because a lot of people get very annoyed that they're like, oh, the angels are trying to come in, guides are trying to come in, and I can't understand what they're saying. In my experience, the ringing in your ears is just your energy being upgraded. So if you think back to when we had internet with like the dial-up tone, if you think about the ringing in your ears, it's literally the dial-up tone. So it's things connecting with you, and it's you getting these downloads and upgrading your spiritual computer. And it just causes a bit of feedback, that's all. So it's nothing to worry about. You will have anything from mild tinnitus to full on like me. And sometimes it's accompanied with migraines, which is really fun. Anyone watching this who hasn't experienced any of these bad symptoms, please don't let this put you off this course, and don't worry. Like, I'm going through all of these just to let you know that it's completely normal. You might not experience hardly any of them, and you might get all of them. I just want to make sure that I'm covering kind of all bases. There is obviously loads of positive aspects of awakening. There's loads of positive symptoms. So things like seeing repeated number patterns everywhere. This is something that I get asked all the time. Whether or not you choose to give meaning to the individual numbers is completely up to you. The way I see repeated number patterns is it's just spirit letting you know that you're on the right path, that you're guided, and that you're going through awakening. So you can Google angel numbers if you want, and you can see if those messages resonate with you. Sometimes I Google things, but I take everything with a pinch of salt on Google because, like I said, there is so much bullshit out there. Everyone has an opinion on something. And this whole course is to encourage and teach you to get the information that you need from within yourself or from your guides. So I'm a big fan in, I don't really take much on board unless it comes from a direct channel or someone else's direct channel that I trust. So like another healer or psychic I'm talking to. And so, yeah, if numbers resonate with you and you look it up online and it resonates, great, go with it. If it doesn't, just think, oh, it's just the universe guiding me, letting me know I'm on the right path. Something else huge that happens with awakenings is coincidences. They're quite often called synchronicities. Synchronicities just means coincidences. It's just a bit of spiritual jargon that gets thrown about that. When I was at the start, I had to Google it because I didn't know what it meant. So I'm just going to clarify that on here. So something that I talk about today may happen in the next few days because you're listening to this for a reason. Something I may talk about today, someone else might start talking about. For an example, with my own spiritual awakening, I got told that I had a Viking spirit guide. 2 days later, he was called Thor, by the way, and Thor's heart is dragged by goats. A couple of days later, my sister turns up on my doorstep with a goat skull that just appeared in the woods that she knew was mine. Like, most ridiculous coincidence ever. But it was, for me, the more you need a nudge believing, the bigger the coincidence will be. So if you're having trouble believing in your own abilities, believing in all this stuff even existing, the universe will send you more and more big flashing signs until you're literally like, I cannot fucking ignore that. Like, that's insane. Okay, so synchronicities is a big one. And then obviously a lot of us have abilities opening up. So in the other modules, I go more into the psychic abilities and stuff, but some of you will start hearing and seeing things that other people can't perceive. And another thing that might happen is your hands might start going hot. This is because you're channeling healing energy. So there's nothing wrong with you. If your hands start going hot, they start getting sweaty. I call it my hands turning on. And if I start having heat coming out of my hands, I just place them. I'm going to try not to get my microphone. One on my heart and then one on my solar plexus or my womb area, or just wherever feels good for you. Just imagine it as the universe sending you a nice warm hug, pretty much. So, excuse me while I check my notes that I've gone through. My story. Okay, so something that I wanted to cover that I think I briefly touched on is, with all of this stuff, I really, really, really want to get across the point that I really want you to use all of your own guidance on how you use this, and that it's really important that you take what you want from spirituality, discard the rest, and you use it to fit into your life to make your life better. Please don't think that by opening up these abilities, you have to suddenly, I know that for me, that was my path, but you don't have to suddenly change your life, walk the spiritual path, certainly don't have to start walking, talking, dressing differently like a lot of people unfortunately do. All of this stuff is just there as tools for you to use. I know that a lot of people are worried that of the responsibility that comes with opening up psychic abilities, and that's just not the case. In olden times, back in the day, it may have been the case that if you wanted to become a spiritual teacher or a healer or whatever, you would train for years and you would do it all from a book of what someone else wrote, and they'd very much be telling you what to do. This isn't the way we're working anymore. We're coming into the age of Aquarius. It's all about you finding your own way and getting things from within, which is exactly why I called this course Upgrade from within. So anyone watching this that's worried of, I know that I'm being pulled by spirit to do things, it is 100% your choice if, when, where, how, which I'll cover again in future modules. And it's very much all about using this stuff to make your life better, using your abilities to make better decisions in life, letting yourself follow the coincidences to where you need to be, and just letting the universe help you along your journey, because there is a lot of energy out there that is here to help us.